Hey there. With the winter holidays coming up here shortly, I want to give one, I'm not going to say last reminder, but one more reminder about our tip jar link. If you go to Duckfeed.tv/tipjar and use the Amazon links there, you can do the regular Amazon shopping that you're going to do, possibly for wintertime gifts or whatever holiday you observe. And when you buy stuff through that link, we get a small cut of the proceeds of whatever you buy. This makes a surprisingly big difference for us. And we really appreciate everybody who takes the extra step. So once again, that is Duckfeed.tv/tipjar. Thanks. Welcome to Radio Free Midworld, a podcast about the Dark Tower series of books by Stephen King. My name is Cole Ross, and today I am joined by Evan Jones Thorne.
Hello, Cole.
Hey, welcome, one and all, and also welcome you, Evan. It's us rocking it 2 style tonight.
Yes, I am Evan. I am your permanent co-host on Radio Free Midworld. Just me and Cole and no one else. Forever.
Everybody tries to edge out the Greers. I don't understand why that happens.
Just me and my best friend Cole and no fucking Greers.
See, that's one of my favorite tricks that Brayton pulls. Like,
yeah, I was really hoping you weren't going to put me on blast for aping Brayton's goof.
It's so good. So people who listen to season 1 will remember Brayton, and obviously if you're not listening to Teenage Dirtbags on the network, then what are you doing with your life? But it was it was well before I actually met Brayton in person. He came on, I think, like Bonfireside Chat or something like that as a guest, and it was delightful. And at the end, he just said like, "Oh, so same time next week."
Yeah, I want to say it was on Abject Suffering the first time that he was on that. Has he been on that more than once?
He's been on a couple, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, the Cool World one, I think it was that one. But at the very beginning, it was like, said something about like, and I'm your co-host, Brayton Cameron.
Just insinuating himself.
Yeah. Which that speaks volumes about Brayton's something. I'm not sure what exactly.
It's a very good joke because he knows his audience. He knows that at least I and Gary by extension are kind of averse to conflict. So it's like confrontation. Yeah. Oh man, Brayton's a good guy. This is a good chapter of this book. A good handful of chapters.
This is a good section of a very interesting book in this series.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I felt about it the first time I read it.
Yeah?
Like, I liked it, but I wasn't sure. I guess I wasn't sure how I felt about it in context.
Right. So this is your second appearance on this season for this book. You were also on the first episode where it was like in the present where they defeated Blaine. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
That might be like my favorite overall just segment of the Dark Tower series.
Oh yeah. Well, like just when it is shading from the wastelands into this. Yeah. What you're describing has been kind of the arc for this. We record these pretty far apart from each other, so it's going to be kind of hard. Like people who are listening all in a row are going to say, "You guys were just talking about this." But the arc of this book has been pretty much like, yeah, when I first read this, I didn't know how I felt about the flashback. Like, it just felt like it was a real disruption to pacing. And on revisit, understanding how this fits into the overall story, like, yeah, no, like this is great on a second go.
Yeah, and I'm still kind of torn on how I feel about its effect on the pacing.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me has always wished that Wizard and Glass had been like 2/3 in the present and 1/3 flashback.
Yeah. Do like a little bit of what he did with the Wind Through the Keyhole.
Yeah, well, I haven't read that one yet.
Shit. Well, you're going to get to read it soon, and boy, you're in for a treat.
Well, you just spoiled it for me now, so I don't think I'm going to even bother.
Well, because of when it was written and where it takes place, you know that it can't be. Jeez, I didn't think I could spoil that. Yeah.
Yeah, I really do enjoy the backstory to Roland and Gilead and that entire world that has moved on.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love getting more of that, but I don't know. I keep kind of wishing that it was a little more spread out.
Yeah.
And a little bit less young love centric.
Right.
Even though that's like, we'll get to that, then that's significant and important and worth spending time on.
Yeah. Even the kindest read of this book, the person who enjoys it the most, would not be able to say like, yeah, every part of this moves along at a really like sprightly clip. There's an awful lot of like establishing what is going on in Hambry and a lot of laying out the players and the conspiracy. But when this
sprightly is not a word that I would use with this one.
No, but like around this point, especially when the conflict between Roland and Cuthbert comes to a head, and the stuff that happens with Rhea, like we're on a the rails are going to be greased, right?
Yeah.
So
shit does go down.
Yeah. So let's get to it, because at first glance it seems like not a lot happens. Like a lot of it is kind of simmering and a lot of let's say Sturm and Drang between people. But last time Roland and Susan finally gave in to Ka and their love for each other, and they consummated their physical relationship.
Hey! Let's keep it clean. We can save that for
the After Dark version.
Yeah,
when things get a little blue. Whew, they consummated their physical relationship.
Save that for Heartbeat City.
Whew, yeah. This is a problem because Susan was promised to the Larry David-esque mayor of this town that they're in.
Oh God, how did I never picture him as Larry David? That's amazing.
That's exactly how they describe them. And now I know you haven't listened to the recent ones, because everybody has had that exact same reaction.
Yeah, I told you before we started recording, I am so behind on podcasts.
Yeah, so I'm happy to hear your reaction to that.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
that is so perfect.
Yeah. But that's one trap that is ready to be sprung.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
it's also a problem because aren't gunslingers much like Jedi generally not supposed to have relationships like that unless they're like getting married and starting a family?
I think it's less priest-like than that.
It's less priest-like.
Because like Stephen and Gabrielle are married and stuff. I have no idea what the strictures are. If it has to be completely courtly.
Maybe that's like just headcanon for me, but I always kind of got the feeling that gunslingers were like they weren't supposed to date. They were just kind of supposed to get married and further their line.
Right. That it would have been a little bit more arranged, or a little bit more like they're presented as knights. So you would I think you're well within reason to imagine them being more courtly than that. But like,
yeah, definitely not supposed to like have a thing with a girl in a town that they met.
Well, yeah. Also, you're not. You're also probably not supposed to put your entire mission in danger, which is what he's doing.
Oh well, yeah. There's that too.
Yeah. Neither Alan nor Cuthbert seem to be like saying like, "Oh, but you're shirking your vows" or anything like that. Like that is nowhere in the accusations that they are levying at Roland.
That's true.
We
haven't really talked. I know I've said that I appreciate that you pronounce it Cuthbert instead of Cuthbert, because that second one just feels bad on the mouth and the ears. But you say Alan rather than Elaine?
I go back and forth. Yeah,
okay.
Alan or Elaine. Yeah,
I've always gone with Elaine.
Yeah,
I haven't. I don't think I've listened to one of the audiobooks where his name has come up, so I don't have any reason not to.
Yeah, for Frank Muller pronounces it somewhere in between the two, but I can't. It's kind of like pronouncing a French word the right way. I just can't do it.
Yeah, Frank Muller has a way with pronunciation that is.
Well,
It is.
he was a fucking pro, and
Yeah, it's incredible. Like I wish I could say any word as well as he does.
yeah, yeah,
It's
so
amazing.
yeah, and then George Guidall is the one who goes Cuthbert. And I don't know if that's from Direction or not. I need to. So the audiobook version of Wind Through the Keyhole is read by Stephen King, which is a bone of contention for some people. However, you do get his actual canonical pronunciations off of it. So I need to pay extra attention to see how he pronounces Cuthbert.
Interesting. Yeah, I am very curious on that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
Minutia.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fun to walk down these little side paths here. But yeah, so that's one problem. Susan is promised to somebody else. They've got these other people, these big coffin hunters, these kind of dark reflections of the gunslingers themselves, tightening their noose and learning about the boy's true nature, again, because they are here kind of under false pretenses. And also we have that nasty old witch who watches things through her orb. Lots of peril happening.
I really hope that in the extremely unlikely event that we get some sort of film or televised version of Wizard and Glass, that Rhea of the Coos is played by Rhea Perlman.
Oh shit.
Not only because they have the same name, and so I imagine it would be very easy for her on set to respond when people said their lines, because
right.
I know one of the hardest parts of being an actor is someone says a name that's not yours and you're supposed to react to it.
Okay, when I call you Mr. Thompson and stomp on your foot, you say hello. Yeah, exactly.
And also ow.
Yeah, right.
But just I have always kind of pictured Rhea as a Rhea Perlman type, and specifically present day.
She has
not,
to be
not Carla from Cheers, but present day kind of wizened and weathered Rhea Perlman.
She has to be retired as fuck and just kind of trying to tolerate Danny DeVito.
Oh, she's on the Mindy Project.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, that's a Radio Free Midworld brought to you by the Mindy Project.
Uh-huh.
That's a lie. They're not giving us any money. But it's a very good show, and Rhea Perlman has a recurring guest spot on it, and she's fantastic.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, she's very active. Yeah, no, Rhea Perlman's a delight. No, she would definitely have the bearing and the countenance for it, the stature.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is I picture her being very short, and I picture Rhea being very short.
Yeah, but also Rhea Perlman has a very odd sort of gravitas.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's
not dissimilar from Danny DeVito.
Oh, true.
Actually.
yeah. Both of them kind of grab onto you.
Yeah. It's not just that they are both very short. They're both phenomenally talented and very underrated actors with this very odd, strange charisma and gravitas. and I feel like seeing Rhea Perlman in more dramatic stuff, and specifically as a fantasy villain like this, would be really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, who knows if we're ever going to get that adaptation? I mean, we didn't.
Oh, I am assuming not.
Right.
As much as I would love it, and as much as I'm holding out hope against hope, we're not. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, who knows?
They dropped the ball way too much with that movie.
Yeah, they screwed that particular pooch.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm still considering asking for that DVD for Christmas. Or the Blu-ray, so I can see the special features.
I will probably pick it up once it hits the bargain bins.
Yeah. I'm not going to pay more than $15 for it, but
yeah. So February.
Yesterday. Yeah. Oh, poor Idris Elba. Anyway, so this section begins. The section called "Come Reap." We're dividing this into 3 little parts here. Begins with a chapter called "Beneath the Huntress Moon." And having established kind of the first, the first physical part of their relationship, I think Stephen King does something really wise here, which is I'm actually not going to give you an awful lot of details about every time they meet and screw.
Yes.
Just like understand that this is happening and this is an issue. I love the way that he kind of waves us away. As with any other strong drug, true first love is really only interesting to those who have become its prisoners. So Roland kind of takes a back seat because his real priority here is Susan.
Yes. And that is one of my very, very favorite, I guess I'd call it a workaround for that particular trope of just like two young characters falling in love for the first time, and how it tends to just be like over dramatized and over romanticized and frequently over sexualized and generally just kind of obnoxious. And Stephen King is just telling us like, yep, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, it's really good narrative economy.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Again, understanding this is not a very sprightly paced book, but like the will they, won't they is the important part. And now that the pieces are in place, like you
now
understand,
that we know they will,
right? Now that that's in place, he understands like, hey, this conspiracy is moving forward. And we're gonna focus on the consequences as opposed to the thing itself.
Yes.
Which puts this again squarely back in the realm of being a Western as opposed to being, romantic, right?
Yeah, which I appreciate that he kind of used the romantic conventions to convey that particular plot point and character development, but didn't stick with it.
Right. Just hit that. Say Susan is Roland's first tower, and there you go. Observe the parallels, and you're good.
Yeah.
So they've been in Hanbury and Magus for a while. Summer is turning into fall. The harvest is beginning. Remember, the deadline for them is the Reap Festival, the Halloween festival. And Roland and Susan continue meeting up, sleeping with each other. Not understanding that let's be careful doesn't mean let's not do this. Let's be careful just means let's pretend we won't get caught.
Yeah. And that's never gone wrong for anyone, right?
Yep. But they can't help themselves. But yeah, they're using Shimi as a go-between. They're doing dead drops and stuff. It's real cloak and dagger. And what's strange is, with one exception of Aunt Cordelia and then obviously Elaine and Cuthbert, nobody would have been the wiser, except for the fact that we do have Rhea in play who can see them and did see them.
Yes.
Yeah. Elaine and Cuthbert, they pretty much just like they watch their friend dissolve in front of them. Like Cuthbert describes him as like, he's like a revolver that's been thrown in the water.
Yeah. And this particular segment of the story, it's pretty brief, but it's always kind of made an impression on me because the whole time, like, Roland is the steadfast one. He is the rock. Like, Elaine is kind of like he's got the touch, he's got the shine, whatever.
Right.
He's very, very much the emotional one of the trio. Cuthbert is very much he uses humor as a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
And our first introduction to Cuthbert is that he died laughing.
Yeah, but Cuthbert also has like a real he's rational to a fault.
Yes,
which is funny and kind of a contrast to the I'm gonna laugh kind of side of this. Like he really does use reason a lot.
And as Eddie's character develops throughout the series, like, it's so interesting because Eddie does not start out as a rational character, but he takes that on as it goes on.
Right. Which is
I've already talked about how much I fucking love Eddie Dean as a character.
Oh, for sure.
But like, Roland has always been like the sensible one. Like, he has been the cool head. And now he's just kind of checked out.
Yeah, he's distracted. There's really no other way to put this. You know, his priorities lie elsewhere, you know, and remember the situation they're in. Yes, they're here to kill time, but they have uncovered something that is not just dangerous to them, you know, the big coffin hunters and whoever they represent on John Farson's side, but dangerous to the rest of the affiliation, to all of their family back home. You know, Cuthbert and Elaine are trying to, you know, force him like, hey, we need to do something about this. And Roland is operating as though none of that is happening. We're here to kill time because that lets me send you guys off to go count nets or whatever, while I, you know, am over here with this cute young woman, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to be kind of the primary conflict of this section is, you know, as we kind of learn the depth and kind of shape of Cuthbert's jealousy, which I think is really interesting in a way. But right now, like, they are worried that their leader is as distracted as he is, and Alan is trying to say like, oh, it's whatever. Cuthbert's having none of it.
It's almost uncomfortably intimate in a strange way, where you're looking in at three close friends having a very dysfunctional moment.
Right. Yeah, I mean, three close friends, you know, they're practically brothers, you know, and watching this incredibly personal conflict and just basically watching fraternal love butt up against and create sparks against romantic love is a really interesting conflict, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love, like, you know, Elaine gets so stressed out that he rolls a smoke, and Cuthbert says, "Oh, your dad would kill you if he saw you doing that." And here's this quote, which is pretty resoundingly tragic. You know, King, just as the narrator is describing, like saying, "Oh, by the time of the following year's Huntress came around, basically by this time next year, all three of them would be confirmed smokers, tanned young men with most of the boyhood slapped out of their eyes."
Yeah.
Oh God! Don't grow up. Never grow up.
Oh. I guess at the very least, don't smoke and don't go tanning.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, obviously.
And don't get slapped. Like, I don't know. Every part of that just makes me so sad.
Yup. Oh, gosh, but most of the boyhood slapped out of their eyes. Like, there's just enough there. There's just enough of their youth, you know, and knowing what we know about what's going to happen in the immediate to near term future.
Yeah. Well, we know what happens to the rest of it.
Yeah, we do. It's a foregone conclusion. So it's a little bit of a relief even to learn that Cuthbert and Elaine are going to survive even that long. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Kimba Reimer is meeting with the big coffin hunters. Remember Kimba? He's the old Dr. Death guy. He's the really kind of wiry, creepy looking dude. He's the chancellor. He's kind of running most of this stuff. Like, he is the point man for the conspiracy. Like, the mayor, Hart Thorne, is really distracted in his own way. You know, like, he just wants his payment, and all of his concern is spent, you know, playing with himself, thinking about Susan.
Yeah. He's in so many ways, he's literally just a figurehead who somebody told him the right thing, and he said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead."
Whatever. Will I get money from this? Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't reflect on the current state of our political system at all.
No. It's
definitely not.
So, I mean, obviously, anybody associated with the Red is a bastard because of how high up and how bad that goes. But like, the mayor, you know, it's established. Like Susan says, yeah, we really don't think about the affiliation that much. Like, I could see a point of view from somebody who was as careless as Hart Thorne is. You know, saying like, it doesn't matter. They don't have any real bearing on our life. I'm going to let this happen as long as I have my own little, you know, piece of the kingdom to just kind of like fuck around in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be like a Mayor Hart Thorne apologist or whatever.
No, but it's one of those things that's almost uncomfortably relatable. And I feel like that's something that is kind of one of Stephen King's signatures, is he'll create these, sometimes they're awful people and sometimes they're regular people who are party to awful things. But there's something just horrifyingly relatable about them.
Yeah. There's a line somewhere in here because actually there's a bit of a parallel between Hart Thorin and Coral Thorin, the owner of the bar of the Traveler's Rest. Like, Coral has her own kind of trouble wrapped up in all of this. She's, talking about, like, okay, it's a bird in the hand versus however many. Like, I'll take the bird in the hand, even if the bird in my hand pecks at me and shits all over me. Like,
yeah.
Hart is taking the bird in the hand, all of the problems because he knows what's going to benefit him. So it's not, again, it's the difference between, an empathetic character and a sympathetic character. Like, you can understand it even if you're not like, oh, I'm totally like down with it. And also all the like horrible shit. He buys a person. So
yeah. Well, yeah.
I'd let that not be forgotten.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, but he's being manipulated by this kind of completely amoral guy. Kimber Reimer's no good, is what we're finding out.
Oh, yeah.
He's kind of the mastermind, right? And he wants Jonas to go, tighten the noose even further. Like, go check out the Bar K where these little in-world shits are living, and figure out what they're hiding. I love this scene with Jonas.
Sorry,
like,
I don't mean to cut you off. I just a moment of stunt casting inspiration.
Okay.
If in the same movie where Rhea Perlman plays Rhea, I feel like Kimber Reimer would almost have to be played by Sam Elliott.
Oh yeah, I think Sam Elliott's a little bit too wholesome.
That's why, though. That's why it would be. That's why it would be so good.
Yeah, I was going for a similar kind of gruffness. I'm thinking like whatever movie J.K. Simmons got really buff for. Let's get him back to that, or like really wiry for, or like Oz era J.K. Simmons. I think would be.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just something about. Has Sam Elliott ever played a villain?
Oh, I'm positive he has.
I can't think. If he has, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
If he has, please tweet at me at Mr_Harder. I genuinely want to know, because that would be pretty fucking incredible.
Yeah, I know Sam Elliott from 3 roles where he looms large in my mind. Obviously, The Big Lebowski, when he played the Marlboro Man and Thank You for Smoking. And obviously, the Bizarro World Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec.
Oh yes,
yeah, like that is my Sam Elliott canon.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I know him from a couple of other things, but if you asked me to name something, it would be one of those 3 that popped to mind.
Yep. Oh man, but I love this because like Jonas says like, all right, well, whatever flavor of treason you want. And like Reimer, even though he is completely immoral, like, he does not take kindly to that. He doesn't want to be called a traitor, even though he totally is.
Oh yeah.
I love the indignation of the falsely principled. Let's call it that.
Yeah. Again, no relevance to present day America.
I'm not puppet, you're puppet. Yeah.
If you have something to say about that, do not tweet at me.
No, don't at me. We just need to make a shirt that says "Don't at me."
God, yeah.
I'm writing that down in my notebook. So that's happening over there. We understand that that piece is going to be moving. Meanwhile, Rhea, again over in the Coos, our witch woman is kind of angry that her plan to make Susan cut her hair after she lost her virginity did not happen. Roland stopped her. She didn't see this. All she reads it as is complete insolence. So she decides, let's make things interesting. Well, that comes later. She's so angry that she can't use the glass, and she is in full-on addict mode at this point. She has been for a very long time, but like, you know, the glass will not turn on, and she is screaming to no one in particular, or at the glass itself. How can I make it like it was? Tell me. Like, she does not understand, you know, what is the relation between any of these pieces.
Yeah, which that always kind of throws me, just like how much power she's throwing around and how little she understands about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time I read this book, I'm always kind of surprised when I get to that. And it's not dissimilar from Sylvia Pitton in The Gunslinger, who's kind of comes up in this book too.
Mm-hmm.
But just like having command of this terrible power and knowing what it can, knowing some of what it can do, but not the extent and not why.
Right.
And that's you kind of even get that with what are we calling him, Walter?
Yeah, let's go with Walter, Man in Black, Martin, any of those.
Yeah. Just, you know, when he's having his palaver with Roland and he doesn't know a whole bunch of really important stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's also, I mean, we're gonna find out later on in this, but like Randall Flagg's whole deal, like, there is no discipline, there is no like understanding of the provenance from which this stuff comes. They are just these people who grab onto the tiger and do not know how to either control it or let go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and Rhea's being taken for a ride here too. I mean, like, when Shimi goes to see her later, like, it's described like her face is covered in sores, she's missing most of her teeth, most of her hair is gone, you know, she's not eating, she's not sleeping. You know, she didn't have an awful lot of what was it, Hank Hill calls it, health assets to begin with, being an older woman, but she is thoroughly going down the tubes, both psychologically and physically, and that's really going to come to a head. Going on to the next chapter here, The Girl at the Window. It's a short one, but it is consequential. So some time passes, and Rhea gets this idea for her revenge. She knows what to do, and the plan begins by realizing that she is out of Graf, out of that delicious, delicious apple beer. And so she decides to send Musty down, not just with an order, but also a request. That'll pay off a little bit later. And back with the boys, Roland's kind of like, yeah, let's just kind of continue counting nets. I don't know. Like, just, we'll get to the drop eventually. Whatever.
Yeah. It's pretty relatable when you've got a job that you know is mostly bullshit busy work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's what is it? Elaine says, I don't mind working hard, but I don't like working for no reason.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same.
Exactly. Yeah. Cuthbert's furious because he knows what Roland's up to, right? You know.
Yeah.
And we get a little bit of a shade of what Cuthbert's whole deal is. We get some insight into what his thought process. He says, like, why do you always have to be first? Why does it always have to be you? You know, not only is he upset that he is losing his best friend, you know, like in that teenage way of like, oh, you're not spending as much time with me. But also like, you know, I wanted her. Like, why does the prettiest woman I've ever seen have to end up with you?
Right. And you know, why do you always have to be first? Like, he was the first to get his guns. He was the first to, like, that's kind of that is a recurring thing.
Right.
And a lot of it has to do, I think, with Roland's just general refusal to deal with nonsense. Which makes all of the nonsense that he deals with for Susan that much more unsettling.
It is making him act kind of out of character. He doesn't put up with any nonsense, kind of never has, but he will for Susan because he's making an exception because, you know, love will change people, at least situationally, right?
Yeah, it can make you pretty fucking dumb.
Yeah, or in this case, I mean, they say like, oh, it's making you blind.
Yeah, or it can make you all sorts of things.
Yeah. So Cuthbert has a better idea than just kind of like, I don't know, let's wait. Which is we need to move on to the drop. They're going to think we're either idiots or we're hiding something by not looking at what they're hiding. So why don't we take a schedule to the sheriff and say, we don't want to inconvenience anybody. So here is the exact date and time that we're going to count every single ranch. And then in parentheses, which nobody can hear, so you guys can move stuff around that you don't want us to see. We really don't want to cause any trouble, guys.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. Every single time I read this part where they're talking about like the logistics of counting stock, it's like the fucking, like the intricacies of intergalactic trade in the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like I know I've read it like 4 or 5 times and I have no thoughts on it. I don't care. Yeah. I feel like I skip it every time.
Yeah. It's not that interesting, but it's clever. Like it is a good use of, extending yourself, taking a step, but also saying like, all right, we're going to need to protect ourselves too. But yeah, the idea that they are here to count stock and maintain their cover story, it's not that interesting. Except they make this move and both Avery and Jonas see right through it. They understand exactly what happens. So again, in this game of castles, in this game of chess, in this game of battleship chess that they're playing, everybody understands who is looking and peeking and all that. So Roland is all in for this, but hey, why don't you guys go take that and I'm gonna be over here with no, you need to do this because you're a fucking leader, man.
Yeah, but why don't you guys just take care? I don't need to be there. I'll just hang back.
We can send Sheeny. He's really good at carrying messages.
It's so shameless.
Yeah. So they're headed over, and as Roland's riding along, he looks up and he sees Susan in her window at her house, and she's framed beautifully, and the light is hitting her just right, and it says this is the image of her that he's going to carry with him for the rest of his life. This is even referred to in the revised version of the Gunslinger, and he can't help himself but to start to blow a kiss, but he understands exactly how problematic that would be, so he instead turns it into a jaunty little, like, a wave/salute kind of thing. No harm, no foul, right? Nobody could see that and think that there was any more to it. You would have to be, let's say, paranoid and crazy, possibly a little bit deranged and under a tremendous amount of stress to think that would be anything of import, right?
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately...
Oh, we have one of those?
We have someone who is paranoid and deranged.
Ah, dang.
Yeah, fuck. In this case, she happens to be right.
Right there.
Whoopsie doodle.
Like, I love this because the steps that she has to take, I'm not throwing the word crazy around lightly, but the steps that she has to take to connect this gesture with what she accuses Susan of, they're so wild that only somebody in a very overextended situation would even do them.
Oh yeah, I don't throw that word around lightly either. I like her character is paranoid and crazy. Like that is a description.
Cord is neither good nor well.
No, like she is very much neither of those.
Right. So this leads to a confrontation between Cordelia and Susan. And she, like, Cord's right. She's like, hey, you need to swear to me that you're still pure. You need to tell me that the deal is still on because this is very important for our well-being. And Susan won't swear to it. She won't just lie to it. Susan's stance is like, you don't have the right to force me to say that.
Yeah. And she's right, but also she kind of fucked up by not lying, which is weird.
Yeah. Like the whole theme here, and this is summarized very well by Cuthbert later on, like, you're right for the wrong reasons, and that makes you all the way wrong.
Yeah.
Like, just there are a lot of people who are acting logically, but it is under a premise that is not entirely, let's say, constructive, nor conducive to their long-term survival.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
But Susan's got a little bit of steel in her, right? She goes to leave, and with Gunslinger's eyes, everything becomes clear. She gets that coldness. She sees Cord ready to like go upside her head. Like she sees her in a reflection. She says, raise it not. Raise it not, you bitch, is what Susan says. Telling her not to raise her hand at her. And Cordelia has the nerve to say, Susan, how can ye call me so? What's so coarse into your tongue and regard for me? Oh, no, you're not going to play this. Nope.
No,
you don't get to.
Homie, don't play that.
Man.
Honestly, like the thing about Susan having Gunslinger's eyes has always kind of bugged me.
Just a little pat.
It feels like maybe 2 degrees away from some Deus Ex Machina shit. Like,
yeah.
Like, why does she have that? Like, not to say that she
is it sexually transmitted?
That exactly. Like not to say that like she shouldn't have some steel in her. Like that seems very much in keeping with the character, but specifically saying that she sees with Gunslinger's eyes, like, no, like that's a thing where you like that feels like a whole different thing. And like, why can't she just be a badass in her own sort of way?
Yeah. I mean,
like, I don't know. I'm not obviously not trying to be like a weird sexist douchebag about it, but like just it just feels kind of tossed in, like, Roland is clearly attracted to the fact that she's a gunslinger too. It's like, no, she's really hot and Roland's into it. Like,
right. So I take some solace in the fact that like, even though this thing is given a name, it's not a proper noun. It is not the Force. It's not midichlorians. Like, he could have just said, in a fit of situational awareness that wouldn't be unlike what Roland experiences in times of danger. Like, that'd be a really clunky way of saying it. It would still carry the same weight and be a little bit less like eyebrow raising, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way that I read it. It doesn't stick out that much to me. Like, she just has the adrenaline up, right?
Yeah. No, and I guess if I'm being honest, that probably didn't register with me the first couple times I read through the book. It's just something that I picked up on.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely on this read, and I think maybe the one before it.
Yeah. Well, we're reading it more with an eye for like broader connections and trying to understand like the ontology behind it.
Yeah, we are nerding hard.
Right. Which, if there's ever a venue for it, this might be it. We made it. we created it. Yeah.
Correct. So, we're here.
Yep. Yeah. But regardless, Susan puts Cord down. And I already talked about, Jonas and Sheriff Avery understanding the point of the schedule, like seeing right through it. And again, we are in this chess / castles / battleship kind of metaphor. Jonas is talking to himself like, "Are you trying to play castles with me, Sprat? I'll make you rue the day."
Jonas is just such an asshole the whole time, and I kind of hate it, but I also kind of love it.
Oh yeah. He is a very good villain.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of tend to underrate him, I guess.
Well, he's not like a huge presence across all of this,
No, but every time I'm actually reading this book, like when I'm not reading the book, I tend to kind of like forget and skip over. But whenever I'm actually reading this book, I'm like, man, Jonas is such a fucking bastard. It's great. Yeah. Like, it's so good.
He's got this like mix of like both competence and obliviousness, where the dramatic irony really works.
Yeah,
for me anyway.
Definitely.
Watching him try and like puzzle this stuff out, and like getting like this next chapter is pretty much the end. It is all the Jonas story, right?
Yeah.
This chapter called Playing Castles. where he is suffering this kind of insecurity. Like, okay, we know what the schedule's all about. I don't really care about them counting horses, flip some pages. However, there's something that I'm missing here, because they snuck up on me once and it's not going to happen again.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we get these little scene setting things. There's a protracted spell of bad weather. And Roland and Susan aren't able to see each other. So this gives us a chance to focus on Jonas and see what he's doing. Jonas goes out to the bar and he finds a distraught Cordelia. Like, she's there, not so much like drowning her troubles, but just trying to get out of the house. And it's been established that she, has a crush on Jonas. And so he uses this to her, basically to his advantage. First, to kind of try to just manipulate her because it's fun. Second, because eventually she just says, yes, the thing I am worried about is Will Dearborn. Ding, 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 ding. Here we go. We have a winner. You said the secret word.
I'm reaching for a Pee-wee's Playhouse joke, and it's just not there.
Yeah, I don't have one either. It's fine.
Yeah, though. I'm not quick enough.
Yeah. So she kind of spills her guts and says, like, I'm really, really worried that Will Dearborn being the, false name, the alias that Roland is using here, really worried that he is involved with my niece, and that's going to create all kind of problems. Like, I'm worried that we'll be executed or sent west. Like, this is a big deal. And, Jonas kind of uses that to his advantage, hears about this, gets more information, gets more dirt. Rhea's watching this through her glass. We get this amazing little sequence, this little subheader where we find out that the glass only ever shows her people at their worst moments.
Yeah, it's so this whole moment is so unsettling.
It's like, it's all people in Hambry, but she's got a television, and every time she changes the channel, she sees somebody poisoning their husband or committing an act of incest. She sees these kids who call themselves big coffin hunters who mostly spend their time cutting the tails off of the dogs. So none of the dogs in town have tails anymore.
Which, I know it's just a book, but be nice to dogs.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing we talk about on Watch Out for Fireballs quite a bit.
Yeah, I know.
It's, it sucks when you play a game and I don't want to shoot that dog. I've gotten a lot. I mean, it used to be whatever, no big deal. It's just a video game dog. It's gotten a lot harder to do that as I've gotten older. And I'm not especially a dog person,
Yeah. The only time I don't mind shooting a video game dog is Resident Evil zombie dogs, because fuck that.
Yep. Yeah. There's nothing really dog-like about those things.
Yeah, they are zombies first. These dogs are not zombies. These are dogs.
Yeah, they're just little puppers running around trying to make their way.
They're just dogs, and now they don't have tails, and they can't wag them.
Yeah, how can I?
So
tell
you don't know
if
they're happy or not?
How can I tell if he's happy or scared? Yeah, no good. Especially these little shits calling themselves big coffin hunters. Something's rotten. Something's rotten here, Evan.
Yeah.
Oh well, but just watching this. And we get that little insight, right? Oh man, I lost my place. Sorry. Jonas, leaves this. He throws Cord a bone, kisses her on the cheek, and she blushes, red as a schoolgirl at this. But he's gotten what he wants out of her. He basically feels nothing for it. He rides away, decides to go check out Sitco, the oil patch, where he finds Lookout.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Again, the noose tightens. But this boosts his confidence. He understands, yes, they are on my tail. I know this situation. I can do this. Let me go get some. Cut to Coral Thorne, who's been a minor player up to this point. She's the one who owns the Traveler's Rest. And to cope with the stress of kind of what she knows is going on, what her brother's into, what basically everybody who has any power in this town is into, she's been drinking a lot. This is where we get the allusion to Sylvia Pitson. Remember the corpulent kind of evangelist who went through the town of Tull, who kind of caused I guess Roland caused the complete destruction of Tull, but she had a hand in that as well. Coral, while nursing her hangover and her aching head, says, "Oh Jesus, what went wrong?" Invoking the name of Jesus made her think of that. So we have Sheb, we have Sheb, the pianist. Yep. We also have Sylvia here. So we got some people who are knocking around because time is weird in Midworld.
Timey is wimey, if you will.
I was trying not to say that.
Yeah, no, that's an original thing I just made up.
Yep, it is.
Just right now.
You definitely won't say that for 2 years and then have people tell you it's from a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not from a thing. That's why. No one's ever said that before.
Oh, man. But her hangover. Oh, man. Have you ever been startled when you had a hangover? Like just something. That's God. The worst. Like, like everything already has like halos around it anyway, and you feel not just like you're going to die, but your entire essence is going to be obliterated. Just this feeling of impending doom.
I put a lot of effort into not getting hungover now that, like, as a 30-year-old adult.
Yeah.
That is a priority of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And on the rare occasions I fuck up and am hungover, I do everything in my power to avoid being startled by literally anything.
So if perchance a 6-legged cat just kind of like hopped up and went, "Wow."
No, thank you.
No, that would be a bad thing. Yeah, you lose your shit.
Yeah.
But that's what happens to Coral. Poor Coral. Yeah, Musty, Rhea's muty cat, shows up with a note saying, "I'm dry, send the boy. Bring me the boy," with his graph. So her plan is going, I about said according to plan, but that makes absolutely no goddamn sense.
Do we know what graph is specifically?
It is described as an apple beer. I don't know if that makes it like a an apple flavored beer, or if it is like a carbonated cider.
That's kind of what I was wondering. Is like, I know like there are plenty of references to apple graph, but like I was just wondering if there was any
yeah. I mean,
what side of that fence we fall on.
Regardless, it sounds kind of tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd at least try it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it gives that witch powers, so couldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I could use some witch powers.
Yeah. And just in case you need it, just so you have it. Yeah, so that's moving. Jonas, meanwhile, comes in again, sanguine, after having made his find. Ends up sleeping with Coral, and in the morning he gets up and cryptically says, "All right, I'm going to need some paint and a dog's tail, because I'm going to take this to their home." He doesn't say that last part. This gets us to kind of the climax here of this section, Roland and Cuthbert. Where we get kind of some establishment here, where there's been a little bit of this before too. Cuthbert is telling Roland, we need to send, if not for help, at least for advice, send our carrier pigeons, to carry some kind of message saying that there's something more up. And Roland is pretty much always saying, "Oh, this isn't the right time," right? And ultimately gives, the final lame excuse, "Well, we'll do it tomorrow if we have a chance." But that's too late because along comes Jonas.
Yeah, and he again with the animals.
I mean, so pigeons are majestic creatures that are only the things that we think about. The things that we think are gross about pigeons are our fault.
Well. Yes, but I also live in Chicago.
Okay.
And I am.
Be real careful on what you say next, because I like pigeons a lot.
I am happier to see rats than I am to see pigeons most times.
Oh, if one shits on you, that's bad news.
Yeah. That said, carrier pigeons are a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an animal with a job.
Right.
And I know for a fact that on the Duckfeed network, as soon as you give something a job, it becomes cute.
Oh, absolutely.
That is canonical within Duckfeed.
Oh, that is definitely one of the values that we have. Inclusivity, being real fine with just tangents, and also if you give an animal a job, yay. I don't know how you write that out, but if you give an animal a job, yay is how that goes. It's on our coat of arms. You're right. And these are good birds that are cooing and all of that. And Jonas decides, well, we can't have them talking home. Talking with home base here. So I'm just gonna, snap their necks and also put them inside their pillows because fuck you. There are 3 of them. There are 3 pigeons, 3 boys, and one goes to one, and so on in kind. So this is the equivalent of when the slasher monster cuts the phone line. They are all of a sudden without the ability to get help.
That is a very good analogy.
Yeah. So, beyond just these QQ birds dying for no real reason outside of spite, that is the thing that is upsetting about this. And everything beyond that, and also Jonas finding the guns, is really just petty. Because he could have just shown up and checked for the guns and gone. But instead he decides, I'm going to piss on their clothes, slash up their beds, deface their books, and also use a dog's tail to paint on the wall. What is it, go home rich kids or something like that?
Yeah, because clearly a dog's tail is the only thing that you can paint words with.
Oh, yeah.
You fucking monster.
I think it was more to leave the dog's tail on the bed than to actually get the right kind of brush stroke on it.
Yeah, I'm just not down with that.
No, I understand. I'm bitter about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, the whole break in and fuck shit up and steal stuff and gather intel and then disguise it as though it was vandals, respect. That's a thing.
True. I mean,
totally.
and again, everybody understands what everybody else is doing. Roland knows immediately, yes, Jonas did this. They find one of Jonas's hares here. He did this to make us lose our cool, right? To draw us out into doing something stupid. We can't act on this right now because it is not the time. We cannot go to him on his terms, goaded by this.
Yes.
So, it is a good play on Jonas's part, right?
Yeah, except
what are you leading to?
Well, it would have been a perfect crime, except that we've got fucking.
Oh yeah, we got Elaine with his security camera mind.
Yeah, we got Danny Tanner.
Yep, he gets a. They don't call it this, but it would be a good way to say it.
He gets the shin.
Yeah, he gets a touch attack. Is what happens, which I think is a name of a Yoshi game for DS. He gets a touch attack.
I really like that, actually.
He says, "This is the strongest I've ever felt it. Something is really, really wrong at home. We need to go." And I love this too because Jonas understands that he's been caught. He knows exactly what happened, and this line is great. He says, okay, the thing that explains this is some form of in-world sorcery called the touch, but that is a tool of gunslingers, artists, and lunatics.
Which checks out.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, I love the idea of the touch being a two-way street.
Mm-hmm. That you can tell you're being watched, and there's precedence for this too because Susan, and not only do does the original, the current Kata, they're able to talk with each other without actually talking, but Susan was able to sense that somebody was watching them when she and Roland slept together for the first time.
Right. And I feel like there's reference to that in other King books, but I can't think of an example off the top of my head.
Nor can I.
But I feel like that's something that is canonical in a larger sense as well.
Yeah. That if you're sensitive, you can tell when somebody's feeling you out.
Yeah. So, yeah. Jonas's whole shit gets fucked, sort of.
Kind of. Like he's still smart. Like he still plays it off as a as a vandalism act, even though he knows.
Yeah.
He's been spotted because.
Yeah.
Who knows? Like when he finds their guns, it's in a hidden compartment beneath one of their beds, I think. Like he initially is worried that it's like he's going to find an actual gunslinger gun, the true steel, the bore like a mine shaft is the way that he describes it. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
and like he has this moment, like as he's unwrapping this pack, smelling this gun oil, thinking, if I find those, the entire plan is off because I'm taking these and running.
Yeah.
I love that because we know Jonas is a failed gunslinger, right? Like
yes.
that's his whole motivation is he was, he failed the test and was kicked out. And if he can find one of those, then yes, that changes everything. Like that becomes the new plan. He doesn't, because all he finds is the Roland's apprentice gun and also the kind of the two kid guns basically that Elaine and Cuthbert have. But it is enough for him to understand that, yes, we are dealing with in-world kids, and yes, they are gunslingers of a sort.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a really awkward scene with Shimi and Rhea that I would really rather not spend too much time on.
Yeah,
it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows how depraved Rhea is and how much she is committed to keeping people off balance, because Shimi is terrified. He brings her the graph, and Rhea says, "Hey, take this letter to Cordelia Delgado if you can, and also if you take these mushrooms, I can look like whoever you want. Let's go get busy."
Yep.
Yeah, and that's all we need to do.
Anyway, so moving on.
It's Rhea's gross. Has been gross the whole time, and this is again new heights and/or depths of grossness, depending on how you want to view that.
Did you guys not pick up that Rhea's fucking gross? Here you go. Thanks, Steve. So yeah, the quartet gets back. Their tent is all fucked up.
Yeah.
Cuthbert's pissed. Roland is defensive.
Yeah.
It just kind of escalates.
It's all coming to a head. Like,
yeah.
Elaine basically like pulls Cuthbert aside and says, "You're going to say something you regret. You're going to do something you regret. You need to go." Yeah.
So he does.
Yeah. But not before saying, like, she has made you a coward.
Yeah. Which I feel like that's not a word that Roland responds well to.
Nah, he's going to try and prove you wrong.
Yeah. So he goes off to try and cool down.
Yeah.
He runs into Shimi, gets the message that Rhea sent before she tried to. Anyway.
Yeah. No, like he intercepts it. Like he says, "Hey, I'm going to take this off your hands." Because no matter how much Rhea threatened you, it's more important that not go where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And let's actually talk about this, because the scene with Farson's man is outside of the kind of like the dramatic arc of this, and I want to address it.
Because the scene with Farson's man, essentially it just tells us that the man in black is here.
Yeah, I want to talk about it because there are cool details, but like
there are, but yeah. It cuts away. Man in black is here. Cuts back.
Yeah.
Cuthbert gets home and just fucking decks Roland.
Oh, he just lays him out. Like
just real bad, and it's so good.
Come outside. I want you to see something. Kapow!
It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
Because Roland has been kind of a dick for a while.
He absolutely has, and he realizes it too. Because, like,
it's so good.
Roland has done some of his own thinking and says, like, have I been making decisions like a drunk baby? Like, yeah, you have.
Cuthbert sucker punching Roland. It's like, I like Cuthbert, but that scene makes me love Eddie even more. Just because, like, that's what Eddie wants to do so badly, and he just doesn't have the history with Roland to have the confidence to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, also,
but he is right there.
Yeah. Well, true. Like Cuthbert has Roland dead to rights. You know, he has the letter that he handed him saying, like, "Hey, dipshit, you want to see what you got us into?"
Yeah, because this letter is pretty graphic.
It's pretty damning
as far as these things go.
Yeah, it's a little bit uncomfortable.
He's had every hole of her.
Yes.
Well,
how do you like it? And
not much. I don't. That is more than I needed to know.
There's one of those that seems a little adventurous. Okay, no shame. No, I don't
depending
know
on the
things.
time. Depending on the time too. Yeah. I guess.
I
don't know.
I don't know how people.
I don't know how people did things back in Midworld times.
Right. You know, like you might swing a different. You know, just you might do things a little bit differently out here in the Outer Crescent.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna say every hole, there's one of those. Yeah.
I assume that we're talking about the ear.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's oral sex. AURAL. Yeah.
Yeah. No. That is.
Yep.
Like not to yuck anybody's yum, but that's a little weird.
Yeah. That's you know we come from a time and place. You know, things were just different. You know.
But like it just doesn't fit.
Wait, it doesn't?
Does it?
And see that was a fun joke. That was a fun joke that I made.
Me too.
Yeah, a joke.
We were definitely both joking.
Yeah.
Neither of us has ever tried to put our dick in someone's ear.
You know, come on, never.
Yeah,
you know, I'm kind of done with this goof.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. So yeah, basically the accusation, and Cuthbert made it earlier, but it is especially true here. You've called your carelessness love and made a virtue of your responsibility. Like you have fucked up. You thought you were being careful. No, you were just, you know, just putting everything in danger. You need to understand exactly what you have done. This is now a crisis, and we need to deal with it. And to Roland's credit, he understands. He knows that he has not been seeing clearly, and he prostrates himself before Cuthbert and begs his pardon.
Yeah. You've called your carelessness love and made a virtue of irresponsibility is like, if I was a more well-spoken human, I would love to say that to a number of people that have been part of my life at various points.
Yep.
Including my fucking self.
Yep. It's a
like that is so perfectly phrased, and it's concise and conveys so much.
Yeah, it is a great way to encapsulate a tendency that I think a lot of people go for.
Yeah.
So
and yeah, Roland owns up.
Yeah. They you know, he understands, like, all right, you know, they put the pieces together. Roland even compliments Cuthbert on his left hook. He says Cuthbert's response is like, "Oh, it's only really good if people don't know what's coming." So it's not all together, right? Like, you know, Roland is willing to admit that he made a mistake. But you know, loving Susan wasn't one. You know.
Yeah. Just the compliment on Cuthbert's left hook, and then the response. It's like that is such like an old close friends moment.
Hello, comfort zone.
Yeah, like I have never been punched and would really like to keep that streak going, but I can still kind of relate to that a little bit.
It's fun. I was punched over a bonfire once.
I heard about that on a podcast.
Yep. I forget which one. It was real cool.
Yeah. I forget which one too.
Yeah, we really shouldn't have been kickboxing drunk. So,
no,
especially not outside while there was a fire around. At the
same time, absolutely yes.
Unfortunately, like in my fall, I exaggerated it and I ended up clearing it, but that was very cool. Let's talk about the Man in Black, because you know, Roland and Cuthbert, you know, the quartet, you know, is not really in internal jeopardy anymore. They're clarified by clarified by crisis. That's how I wrote this here. Let's talk about the other quartet that we know, the Big Coffin Hunters, because Roy DePape goes to Jonas saying like, "Hey, you need to go see somebody at Seafront. Shit's kind of fucked because it's not Kimba. It's one of Latigo's men. It's one of Farson's men. Never seen him before, but he looks like other people and he laughs like a dead person.
He looks like other people is one of my favorite descriptors.
It's very good because it does describe this character. It's the Man in Black.
Yeah, and as soon as you get that, you know who he's talking about, but it's so weird and otherworldly. And it seems like a metaphor, but it's like it's not kind of in the back of your mind. It's so good. Then he just fucking shows up like a fucking psychopath.
He does. Jonas knocks on the door and he says, "Come in." Jonas walks into a room that is kind of seemingly empty. He looks around. Oh, there's nobody here. Where's that voice coming from? And then just all of a sudden, boo, I'm on your left shoulder. Hi. I'm going to talk to you about whether or not, gosh, what's his name? Old Blue Eyes. Fuck. That singer, My Way.
Oh, Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, whether or not Frank Sinatra is a better singer than some other dude. Again, just kind of like, let's do our tight five on the Man in Black so we can understand that he's in play and associated with Farson, and also some powerful being that whose sigil is a red eye.
Wink, wink. Come again with that word?
It's pronounced sigils.
Is it sigil?
No, it's sigil. It's
okay.
It's sigil, but they spell it with a U here, and that throws me off. Yeah, his sigil.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was looking at the show notes where you have it spelled like a sane person.
Right. Right. Also,
I totally forgot how it was spelled in the books, and I just got very confused for a second.
Sigil's the way they pronounce the city at the center of the Planescape universe, and so that sometimes fucks me up too. So.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Gotcha.
But to prove that this guy is from Farson, he presents the sigil, which is this wild staring eye that even Jonas is afraid to touch. I love that Farson's man, Walter, he says, "Okay, call me Walter." When he first appears, he's got this, he's got the hood up, he's got this real close shorn hair, and his teeth are filed away to points. But on second glance, it's like none of that is true.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, weren't you just? And like he's appearing to Jonas as Court's dad, the one who he failed the trial for. Just really fucking around with Jonas, and I don't understand why he's here. Aside, they cut away before they get down to business, but like Walter's definitely here to say, yeah, we're gonna need that ball back. If you can manage it.
Yeah. Just, little thing.
Little thing you're going to need to do for this evil god, yeah. So it's a cool scene. Any other things that I'm forgetting about that?
No, I don't think so. It doesn't serve a whole lot of purpose. It's just kind of badass.
Yeah. It's like, hey, here's Walter, remember?
Yeah. Remember how he's great and you missed him?
Yeah. We're going to see him more later. It's fine.
Yeah. So speaking of fucking evil goddamn psychopaths,
right?
Back to Rhea.
Yeah, because they Roland and Cuthbert, they decide, okay, this message came from Rhea. She obviously has a way to see us. Let's go pay her a visit, right? And so in the early morning, they ride through the spooky Halloween nightmare town that is Rhea's part of the coups. I love that even her scarecrow is a mutie. It's got like a hand sticking out of the chest and stuff. Like she's got a real sense of humor on her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, I'm not remembering what going dim really entails.
So that is explicitly something from the Eyes of the Dragon. Like it is
okay.
So given the magic of this universe, it is impossible for a person to be entirely invisible. Like, that's just not the thing. However, you can produce such a glamour that you will not be noticed. And like there are ways around it. You know, like you're basically hiding in plain sight. Like immediately Roland understands, like, yeah, she couldn't have gone somewhere. We would have seen it. So he starts looking for her out of the edge of his, out of the basically his peripheral vision, and sees her as like a little like shimmer, and knows like, yeah, you're here. I'm going to talk to you. Like Rhea never like straight up appears during this. She just remains dim the whole time. So it is the same kind of magic that that Randall Flagg uses in The Eyes of the Dragon.
Okay, see, that's I know that she like going to, like it's making yourself unnoticeable, but I have not read Eyes of the Dragon, and I might have skipped that episode of the podcast.
It's quite good.
Whoops.
No, that's you're not hurt my feelings. That's fine.
I really need to. I need to like catch up, but I've been like so behind on all of my shows. I'm sticking to like the tentpole Dark Tower books here.
Yeah. Oh no, you don't need to. You don't need to do a thing. No need to apologize. I just that recommendation is more me saying, like, if you get a chance to read what is essentially like a really breezy children's book, that is a good way to do it, because it actually is. It is really good.
Okay. Yeah. I couldn't remember if going dim is something that was explained earlier in this book or in a prior Dark Tower book, and I just wasn't remembering. But like I realized reading through it this time, like. It's like, wait, I don't actually know what that means.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not from, I mean, it's not from this series directly, like none of the mainline ones. You can intuit what it is. Like,
right.
I can't look at you directly, but I can. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now we come to the one moment where Stephen King does that fucking thing he does where he makes you feel for the most despicable person.
Yeah. Because Roland gives an ultimatum, like, hey, don't send another goddamn message or I'm going to come up here and snap your neck. And she, in response, says, hey, my pet snake, Aramot, not really my pet, my friend. Like, I've got Muskie, but he's kind of a dipshit. I really like this
my only friend in the world.
Yeah. Also,
basically,
my fucking supply. He's my source because I drink his venom and he gets me crunk as fuck.
Yep.
Yeah. She says, like, hey, Aramot, go. And Roland, being Roland, draws and fires and kills this gigantic snake.
It's like a Pokemon battle, but if it's one person chooses a snake and the other person just has a fucking gun.
Right. Yeah, it's Ekans versus a human with a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ekans versus Luger.
Right. Not Lugia, Luger. Luger,
yes. Yes.
So, yeah, Roland unloads.
So that happens, and it's like that whole thing kind of plays out the way you'd expect, and it's like Roland gets the snake, and you're like, fucking yeah.
Yeah, and Cuthbert's like, awesome, you did it. That was an amazing shot. I thought you were done for. And they go. Like, Rhea has good enough sense not to reveal herself, to any more danger. They're gone. I know what you're leading to. Like, she's distraught. She's broken.
Yeah, because he was her friend, and she, like, tries to revive him, which is, like, way sadder than it should be because it's an evil witch and her fucking killer snake. But it's like, it's strangely touching.
Uh-huh.
Well, and it's like,
Evan, earlier in the episode, we made such a big deal about killing anonymous dogs and also killing these pigeons or whatever. Like,
yes, but those dogs and pigeons were not attacking people.
True.
This was a venomous snake trying to kill Roland, who he killed in self-defense.
Evan, that snake had a family.
Sort of thing. I don't think he did.
I mean, it was Rhea. So,
he had a family that consisted of one evil witch.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying, and I'm not actually offering a defense of Rhea. She's obviously got to go, but like it's pretty sad to see, to see somebody really distraught about the death of their pet. Like, okay, let's reframe this in the context of Rhea, who seems so unaffected by everything. Like, she's not even like capable of arousal, really. That's, being able to like be a voyeur into people's, sex lives or whatever with this orb, completely disaffected, completely above everything. To see her and to realize that she was so emotionally invested and vulnerable in this one particular way, to understand how profound that loss that she is feeling from this, like, it is uncomfortable, but like, yeah, okay, like this is the one thing that she actually cared about, and now shit's getting real because Roland took it away from her.
Yep. and real shit does get.
Yeah, it's the last straw. Like, she tries to revive it, does incantations, it's too far gone, and she swears revenge. I love this oath that she makes. Your screams will break your throats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's the end of this chapter, and we're going to go on. The next section is going to go through the chapter called The Ashes. Evan, do you have any final thoughts on this particular run of the Come Reap section of this book?
I really don't. Like, it's... I do like Wizard and Glass, and I feel like the pacing has issues, and I feel like it's kind of gets bogged down in itself and all of that. But I do really enjoy this story, and I really enjoy this, like, kind of window into the world that was.
Yep.
And this insight into who Roland is and how he became that.
Mm-hmm.
Because the adolescent Roland that we get in this story, just knowing, like, spoiler alert, kids, it ends badly.
Yeah.
That explains so much of who he is and why he's as, like, obsessively guarded about his emotions as he is, and so much else. Like, it's really, really amazing from a character development point of view.
Yeah.
I
mean, I said it earlier in the episode, but, like, Susan at this point is his tower.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's every bit as fanatical as a teenager as he is when we meet him at the beginning of the story.
Mm-hmm.
But the focus is very, very different.
Yes.
And also, I love Cuthbert and Elaine, and I wish that we got more of them somehow.
Yeah.
Throughout the series without necessarily always being flashbacks.
Right. They're in the comics. Like, when we talk about, like, the long road home and the Battle of Jericho Hill and stuff like that.
And I keep meaning to try to track down the comics, and
you can get them for like $12 on Amazon, like in trade paperback.
That's probably what I need to just do. Like, I keep checking online and libraries and stuff because I'm lazy and cheap.
Oh yeah, that's understandable. Yeah.
Whoops. But no, like, I need to just get those because, like, I've wanted to read them for so long. There's not really any excuse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're real breezy too. Like, they're the regular kind of, like, trade paperback 40-minute read kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know that they're great. Like, we're probably going to talk about the problems with them when we get there, but they do fill in some holes, and you get more time with Cuthbert and Elaine. Yeah. Yeah, and that's good. I mean, like, that's my takeaway from this as well. This is a little bit of Cuthbert's shining moment. Like, Elaine's shining moment comes later, and it's one particularly glorious and violent scene. But understanding, the kind of texture of the relationship between Roland and Cuthbert, like, I think that is a little bit of the emotional core of this book that has, a few emotional cores. That makes no sense. You can't have more than one core. But it's a very interesting side. And again, to repeat myself, to see how that fraternal love butts up against the romantic love, that is something that doesn't happen incredibly commonly. Yeah. Especially in genre fiction. So it's good to get to see it.
Agreed.
And also to watch them kind of, like, rally and return to some semblance of professionalism, which they're going to kind of be in for the rest of the book. They've gone through the storm, and now they're going to be the young gunslingers that they are.
Yeah, because that's really the cool part about this flashback segment of Wizard and Glass is just, like, when they are working well, mm-hmm. it's a machine,
right?
And it's really, really cool the way that King kind of, like, lays everything out, and, like, it doesn't feel like he's staying a step ahead of the reader. It's more like half a step, mm-hmm. where, like, you can kind of see where things are going if you're really looking,
right?
But you've just got these characters who are being very true to who he's developed them to be, in scenarios operating at the peak of who they are.
Yeah. We're going to get to it. I'm really
thinking back on that, and I'm not totally sure if those words make a ton of sense.
No,
but,
it makes a lot of sense.
Hopefully it will in the next episode.
I know what you're getting to. Like when this flashback comes to a climax, it is a hell of a climax. We've been alluding to it, for all of these episodes. Like there's a lot of heat but no light at this point. There's going to be a shitload of light.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing that I would like to mention, I mentioned this off air, I think on one of the very, very first episodes of this show. I don't think that we've come across the term Charyu tree yet.
Yeah, we have. It's been
it's
been brought up in the revised version of Gunslinger.
Oh, that's right. So I have an almost 3-year-old who loves Dora the Explorer, and there is a character in Dora the Explorer who is the chocolate tree.
Okay.
A tree upon which chocolate grows.
So it is not a tree made of chocolate. It is a tree that produces chocolate.
Correct. Yes. And it also naturally talks and sings and has a personality and is a friend, I guess.
Uh-huh.
But I have this vivid and chilling memory of reading The Gunslinger for one of the first episodes of Radio Free Midworld while Oliver was watching Dora, and all of the characters were yelling about their friend, the chocolate tree. And the way that they were yelling and the cadence in which they were yelling and the fact that it was multiple voices filtering through, like down a hallway and around a couple corners, it sounded like a bunch of children's voices chanting Charyu tree.
Yeah. calling for a Joan of Arc kind of situation.
Oh my God, it was so unsettling. And I have been waiting for a Wizard and Glass episode to just kind of mention that, because that's a hell of a thing to sit with for a long time.
That's very unsettling. It's very unsettling to hear Dora and her friends calling for the summary ritual execution in a harvest ritual.
Yeah, it really is.
I said ritual twice in that. I'm sorry. I'm very tired.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it's fine. I think that somebody did. I just wanted to own up to it.
Oh, okay. I hope it was you and not me, and then you're taking the blame for me saying it.
No, it was me. It was definitely me. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. That's good then.
Hey, Evan, where can people find you on the internet?
On the internet, I am on Twitter at Mr_Harder, all spelled out, all spelled the normal sort of way. You can just kind of find my other shit from there.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm on all of the major social networks. I'm not terribly active on any of them. Twitter is kind of the one that I care the most about, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not on there all the time, but when I'm on Twitter, I kind of try to be a little more thoughtful. So that's the one I'd like to put forward.
That makes sense. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. And other than that, if you're on Instagram, you should check out Very Good Cereal Reviews. It has been dormant for a while, but I think that there might be some holiday resurgence.
There might be some movement.
Yes. So
very good.
Check that out if you will.
Cereal reviews.
Yes. All one word, all one tag.
Yeah.
It's a very, very special Instagram about breakfast cereals.
A subject near and dear to a lot of people's hearts.
Yeah. Cole, where are you?
You can find me on Twitter at Cole Ross. Also on other shows on the Duckfeed.tv network. If you're listening to this on early release, you still have time to tune in for Duckstream. It is our charity live streaming video game event that we do to benefit the Transactive Gender Center out of Portland, Oregon. It is 48 hours. Consider watching that. If you're listening to this on the public feed, unfortunately, it's too late. Go back and watch the archives and whatever. It's 48 hours, but if you pop around, you're going to see cool stuff.
The archives are pretty fun. If you're hearing this in time, absolutely watch it live. Hop on the chat. I've been in the live stream, not on it, but in it, and just kind of basically just heckling Brayton every year, and it's so much fun, and what these guys do is really, really great, and the amount of money that they've been able to raise for the Transactive Gender Center is really, really inspiring and fantastic, and thank you guys for doing that.
Yeah, the amount of money that people have been willing to chip in has, I know by the numbers, made a tremendous amount of difference for this relatively small nonprofit organization. Yeah, it is a good cause that we believe in quite a bit, and it's a good time. Like, even if you just want to watch and chat. And
it is really fun. It is just a very fun time to hang out on the internet.
Get to watch us be loopy and participate in a fun chat. Like 48 hours is enough time for an ad hoc culture to form. There are memes that live and die within that.
True. Actually, speaking of that, Cole, I have some sad news.
Mm-hmm.
ColeRossMurderFiles.info and WhyDidColeKill.us have both expired.
Ah, dang. It was a really funny joke. I don't know that I'm going to mourn their passing.
No, I was not going to spend $20 on the renewal for either of those.
Nah.
Like $3-4. Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
I'll drop that on a goof.
$3-4. What is this? A .info? Come on.
Actually, yes.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, last year, for some reason, people started saying that Cole was a serial killer, I guess.
I was playing a survival horror game, and I think people really leaned into that side of it.
Yeah, I don't totally know how it started. I came in kind of like in the middle of that joke.
Yeah, I missed it too. I missed the genesis. So the fact that I had to deal with that for 24 hours was, yeah. It was
mildly entertaining, and with apologies to Cole, the fact that Cole was just profoundly uncomfortable with it made the entire thing very, very funny.
Oh, I mean, yeah,
and
for
so
sure.
I registered 2 different custom domains that redirected to, I think one of them was to Bonfireside Chat and the other one was to Hexcrank.
Yeah. Speaking of Hexcrank, if you can't tune into that, like, we stream all the time now. Like, we have 3, we have 3 different streaming shows. I'm going to start up some more. If you like watching people play video games, and hopefully say
I just ordered a Hexcrank shirt.
Oh, cool! Thank you.
I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I like that logo an awful lot.
Yeah, it's real cool. It's minimalist and spooky.
Yeah, but I play horror games for fun on the internet and talk and people watch.
Yeah,
it's a good time.
Yeah, it's exactly like the PewDiePie. It's just like that.
If you've seen PewDiePie, it's that.
It's very much like that. Lots of screaming and yelling and the occasional ethnic slur.
Oh, of course, yeah. A lot of troublesome concepts.
It is fucking nothing like that. It's great.
Yeah, it's a little bit more reserved than that.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
But check out everything Duckfeed. Check out literally everything Duckfeed. You'll probably like some of it, if not most of it.
Yeah, we're spreading our wings. There's definitely a broader offering than there was a while ago. If you want to help the show in particular, iTunes ratings and reviews are always helpful and appreciated. Otherwise, just tell your friends if they are interested in the series. Say, hey, this is a cool companion. Word of mouth is kind of what we're working with. This has been a long admin section, so I'm going to cut it off. Thank you, Evan, for hopping on and talking about this cool section of the book. Thank you, audience, for listening. We're going to be back in 2 weeks. Again, that's going to go up through the chapter called The Ashes. But otherwise, until then, long days and pleasant nights.